I'm very proud of you, Yenna. You have already hit the peak of life. Though still room for improvement over time, as you can be able to tell. And I do trust Tikal with guiding you on the path of balance. I still have yet to meet your guide and the power of the path. A presence is approaching. Something that I have not felt for quite a while. Well.
It has been quite a long time, hasn't it, Mother?
It has. And I see you finally came back to your true form, son-in-law.
After all these eons, I'm pretty sure you felt it as well.
That I
Balance
have.
returning to our world.
That I have. The other ancestors have felt it as well. In all honesty, I'm very happy she has finally hit the peak of the path of life.
Yes, she has. I still feel like a failure of a father to her, though.
You've done all you can to try to bring her back home, to try to contact her. Trust me, if I had that ability, I would probably feel that barrier as well. Not being able to go near my own grandchild. Especially when I felt the pain that she was going through.
I was watching everything that's happened to her. And in my grief, I made a mistake with Raziel. Mistake that nearly cost everything.
Azrael. Though the mistake has been corrected, has it not?
Mistake has been corrected, yes. But the guilt still remains.
Over time, it should be able to fade out. On the brighter note, you finally reunited with your daughter and made amends. And therefore, you regaining back who you once were, and her reawakening as the angel of life.
Azrael has always been one to not be wrong with certain information, so I will give him that.
Still questionable, but I don't question his intelligence.
That's usually how it is. But what is it I fear? I feel. Mother, I know her path is a burden. She's destined for greatness, I understand that. But does she have to follow this path of hers?
Azrael. There is a little something that you should probably know as well. I even had to inform her guide on Mobius about it. Now don't worry, her guide is not of the living, so it was easy to be able to communicate with her. Though, the path of life, yes, you may consider it a burden. However, it is a requirement for someone like her. For there are 3 that have been presented to her. And even while I have been occupying her body for a while, I did a little studying with the multiverse. Other versions of Yenna. a lot of them had made a lot of mistakes. So far with her, she's on the correct course. The 3 paths. Many of them made the mistake in only choosing one. Your daughter has chosen all 3.
Is this really the correct course of action? She is still a child.
You forget. With the separation that had happened, as well as her being sealed away for 1,000 years, and then living amongst the realm of all mortals. Of course she will be acting older than she is.
There are times, Azara. There are times I just wish I could just strangle you, you know. Because I hate it when you're right.
So you would strangle me when I believe that you are the right man for my daughter?
On the wedding day, you almost killed me. Because you were in a drunken rage.
Well, that's because I keep telling you to save that talk for the honeymoon now, young man.
But it was a shame you couldn't be there for Marina's wedding. Raziel, it was beautiful.
It must have been. But, in a way I was. Gotta remember, when we made that deal, after my untimely demise, and to save your daughter from that condition she had.
Yes, I know. And believe me, I do not regret making that decision either.
And I did not regret.
How else would we not have the true ancestor of the Fox Kingdom now?
Yes, and I did not regret making that decision either. Last minute, yes, but one I never regretted.
Although there is one decision I do regret.
And that would be?
Why? What the hell was I thinking when I did that to Yenna? At the Mira's execution, why did I do that?
At ease, Gabriel. At ease.
If I did not have done that, none of that would have happened to her.
If it wasn't for someone else to interfere with Azrael and Mira, she wouldn't be dead. This wasn't your fault. You weren't the one who had interfered when
Tell that to Azrael. There are times he still blames me for that.
Again, he needs to learn. Who am I kidding? Most men tend to be like that.
Well, he's never been in love before, so you can't really blame him. And when he finally had it, it was taken from him.
I understand. Though, however, if it wasn't for Yenna, though, Mira would not be able to finally be purified back to her original state before she was sent to the afterlife.
Yes.
However, I suggest you try to get a move on with it. Because I have sensed out that there has been a lot of pauses in regards to judgments.
I have to do the best I can. I have to keep a low profile, though. I cannot reveal this to Gabriel. Mm-hmm. The others, yes, of course. But Gabriel, I cannot. If he finds this out and he finds out the Angel of Life is alive again, he might try to go after her again.
If If Gabriel's a smart enough man, he should know better than to touch Yenna or go near her ever again. Because if that ends up happening, then he will make the balance become much more unstable. However, you also gotta make sure you keep yourself alive too, otherwise your daughter will feel the same burden that you have felt all these eons.
But about Yenna, what other paths does she have to take?
Well, she's already on the path of life. You, although her father, are her guide. And with this prophecy, both of you were able to make it happen. And she is now able to become the Angel of Life. Although she is at her peak, she still has room for improvement. But the other two paths are the path of balance and the path of power. Now, the one that's guiding her in the path of balance is a spirit residing in Mobius called Tikal. Just like with me, sadly she met an untimely demise as well. But as soon as she saw potential within Yenna, she had granted her the title as Guardian of Mobius. And then there is the path of power. The path of power, though, I will state this, may be the most difficult for her, though. It requires her to accept darkness as well as light, and to conquer her fear.
Very difficult. I know Yenna may seem bright and cheerful, but I can still see not just fear, not just darkness, but she still has vengeance in her.
However, she is already learning. Never act upon that vengeance, because if that ends up happening, then that will that will cause a problem and an implication with the path of balance. And on top of it too, she would lose her abilities as a Sailor Scout.
Well, let's just hope that she doesn't. I just hope that this Tikal can help Raziel. One more mistake happened as well.
Go on.
I bestowed Raziel with the power of Zanaku, the ancient wolf warrior.
Now that is definitely a name that I have not heard for a very, very long time.
I wanted to give Raziel more power, but in a way, give him a rebirth. That way, maybe he might not be recognizable with Gabriel. But little did I know that maybe that Zanaku's consciousness still resided within it. His need for revenge was so powerful, it must have kept him alive.
Possibly. But however, you also gotta remember too, just like how Yenna was able to have Mira be able to settle down, Zanaku will need peace in order to finally be able to settle down, and he will have a choice to make. Either move on to the afterlife, now having peace within him, or remain with Raziel as a guide.
Quelling 5,000 years worth of vengeance, it's not going to be an easy task, but I have faith that Yenna can do it, and with her guide as well. And if I may request this, I believe Raziel should be the one to guide her on the path of power.
That request is denied, sadly. However,
If I may ask why.
although I cannot be able to see who it is, there is already a guide of power to her. However, I will state this instead. If for any reason, if any of you guides start having disarray or are unable to agree to where she falls off the wrong path, he will instead be the last resort. Let's just say there is a little something that I have also been hearing across the multiverse. If Yenna is able to accomplish all 3 paths, there may be a time where she might feel a little downcast and may need time to reconnect with her true self. If, however, that does happen, Raziel could be able to help her with figuring out her true self. And then over time, she'll build herself back up. And then that is when all 3 paths will be complete. And let's just say, if that ends up as the case, not only will her power be as strong as the 4 kings of heaven, but also she would become equal to God.
As a father, I do not want such a burden for my child.
I know you do not want that burden.
I do not want her to bear all that pressure alone. But I cannot argue and deny with destiny and fate.
Right now,
These paths were laid before her. And I will do my best to make sure she stays on these paths correctly.
as long as she remains as the angel of life by your guide, I'm sure she would have no problem. However, you gotta remember too, it may be a burden, but it is her choice to carry that burden. If it was not for her choice to reconcile, reunite, and combine her powers with yours, then you would have already been dead.
I think we'd be having this conversation differently then.
That we would have. However, it's like I stated, she cannot deter from any of the paths that she has selected. But I also will state this, do not interfere with the other two paths as well.
You really think I can argue with you, my dear mother?
In-law.
I know my purpose. I know what I must do with her for her. And that is all I can do. And just because you're my mother-in-law, I still see you as a mother. Regardless of how old I am to you.
And you're still like a son to me.
I think it's about time I return.
One other thing, when you get a chance to see your daughter again, don't be surprised if you see a fifth child.
A fifth child?
Well, besides Eclipse, the little darkling, although they both share blood, she has adopted 4 others.
That's overwhelming right there, but that is her.
Well,
A heart just like her grandmother, and a heart just like her mother.
her heart may not be in the best shape, but at least it's big enough to show what parental love is like.
Every day, I wish things could have been different. But all this happened for a reason.
You are correct. But for the time being, don't just only be Yenna's father, but be her guide, be her teacher, and anyone that she creates a bond with, both from the world she resides in her home, and everywhere else. Make sure that those bonds are also true bonds as well.
All I can do is guide and give advice, but Yenna has to make the final decision for herself.
I understand. And also another thing too, make sure you also spend some time with my daughter. I don't want to all of a sudden hear her saying that she misses you a lot. Trust me.
No, when she came back to Mobius, I had to keep her safe and out of their eyes.
I understand. However, it seems that ever since I took over as ancestor, there have been moments where she had cried to me, letting me know that she had missed her husband, but I think it's more than just missing, if you know what I mean. Especially during the springtime.
Trust me, I know. But believe me, even with the balance, there might be a chance we could have another child of our own again. If she wants it.
And that is what I leave to the two of you. But I wouldn't mind another grandchild.
We do miss you. And we are sorry that this had to happen to you.
No need to apologize. At least now, the Fox Kingdom is close to being restored to where it needs to be.
Its queen will return soon.
And I'm sure the Queen will be very surprised and happy to see that the kingdom is back to where it should be. And I'll be very happy to see her back again.
And I think once we do come visit you at the shrine, you get to meet your great-grandson.
Ah, yes. Been hearing that he's been having quite an adventure over in Mobius.
He was supposed to be with Azrael.
Why not ask Yenna?
Oh, dear Lord. That is something I do not want to say to her. Well, I need to get back anyway. I had to start plotting with the other kings. It's time to bring this war to an end. And give true balance back to our world.
I understand.
But there is one sacrifice Raziel might have to make. Even if we succeed in all this, he will have to take up the throne. Balance has to be restored, has to be maintained. He may have to leave, but not return.
Possibly. Possibly. Though, all I can say is the chances of that 50-50.
No. Now that he is aware, I can finally tell the last bit of the blood oath to him.
Wait, you haven't told him
Like
that?
Kitano's wish. I couldn't.
Well, I was hoping that at least you would tell him by the time he got his heart back. Azrael, you seriously like to withhold information from everyone.
Unfortunately, it was Kitana's wish. I had to fulfill it to the letter of the Blood Oath. Or else I would have revealed it already. You know how these work.
Blood Oath is understandable, however, at the same time, you did promise him that you would tell him by the time he returned his heart.
Let him deal with Zanaku first. Then, I will reveal it to him.
Very well. It's going to eat me up if all of a sudden Raziel pops in and tries to get answers out of me.
I think you two need to have a visit once things settle down a bit. At least before we take our battle to Gabriel. That way you can give him a little guidance like you've given me.
Well, as long as...
Because he is your son. He is your son, after all.
In-law, but yes. As soon as he returns and comes in for a visit, I'll be sure to also give him the information, and that way he is prepared when the time is right.
Yes. Like I say, I'll talk you up for the rest of eternity, but I need to go.
Oh, how I miss these visits from you, Azrael.
Yes, my lady.
Well, anyways... And
you forget, it was you that taught us. Blood doesn't matter. It's what bonds that can. Real bonds. It's what counts.
Exactly. Blood does not matter. Blood means nothing. Only bond. If, however, there's no bonds, then families cannot exist.
Or they just go into a drunken rage at a wedding.
Really? You're gonna have to bring that up again. Okay, you know what? Okay, out with you. Out!
Goodbye, mother.
All right.
And I will definitely make sure Raziel comes sees you.
Very well. I'll be waiting for him.
No.
Always so serious, but I guess it's what Anihara loves about him. Alright, well, now time to find the Guide of Power. Hopefully he could be able to show up soon.